Good evening, guys. How you doing? How is everybody? Good to see you. Yeah, we got a nice little showing here starting off tonight, and just take a quick minute, say hello to everybody in the chat, and then I'll bring in a couple of people that are already in the green room, and one of them's trying to make me laugh, as usual. So, Jody, what time did you come in? Jody was here 5 o'clock, something, 5:21. First, the winner. And Jaybird Joe just shortly thereafter. Rick Halbert was here early. How you doing, Rick? Good to see you. Mike, GFO drone and tech guy, and Arizona drone dude. Jaybird Hot Rod in Daytona. Good to see you. Michael Blade. Hey, Michael, how are you? And Rick Halbert liked my music. Bill, Metro Drones, thanks again, buddy. And always appreciate the support. Minnesota Paul, MN Paul is here. Chris, just me hop. Good to see you, my friend. Glad you could make it. John Coopy, Professor Dude, he says. How you doing, buddy? We're actually going to do some drone building tonight. I don't know if you'll like that or it'll scare you away, but there may even be soldering involved. Ed, love my drones. How you doing, buddy? Glad you could make it. And getting down to the bottom of the list, and that's it. So welcome everybody. Good to see you. Good to see you. And what we're going to do tonight is it is a pre-built drone, but you still have to you have to install a receiver. You still have to do a lot of Betaflight configuring and getting everything ready to go. So it does involve a little soldering, a little receiver installation, a little Betaflight prop installs. At any rate, I thought maybe might be interesting to somebody. So we'll go ahead and do that. Rad RH is in the house. How you doing? All right, without further ado, let me bring in somebody you all know, but I don't think I've seen around a lot. Not you, Art. Hang in there, buddy. We'll get to you. Welcome, Bill, Metro Drones.
How's it going, everybody?
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good. Glad you made it, man.
Yeah, sorry to keep ditching you.
No, listen, I've been ditched by better than you, you know. Anyway, I'm glad you made it, Bill, because you're a great supporter of this community, man, and everybody appreciates it. And you don't have to do that, but we all appreciate it. And it's nice to see you. It's nice to actually have you in here.
Yep, same here.
What have you been up to? What have you been up to? Doing any flying?
Just some real estate stuff. That's about it.
Yeah, you do a lot of that.
Quite a bit. Stay a little busy.
How do you get the business? Is it business that you've just built up over the years, or do you have a particular way? I think
most of it's built up over the last couple of years. Some new clients.
Do you are you able to get paid what it's worth, or
no?
Is it tough? No,
that's pretty tough. You pretty much take what they are offering most of the time, unless it's a one-off job.
And what drone do you use the most?
Mavic 2 Pro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's become my kind of go-to drone for just about everything anymore. I really like it. So, no, good. Well, anyway, welcome. And have you done any FPV stuff yet?
I'm getting into it a little bit, so I'm kind of interested in your show because I'd like to put a Crossfire in my DJI setup, but seems a little weird, so I'll be paying attention.
I'm going to put the Crossfire into this little quad tonight. So one of two things is going to happen, Bill. I'm either going to show that I don't know what the hell I'm doing, or we'll figure it out.
Right.
Because it's only the second Crossfire that I've installed. I just got into Crossfire, and
looks like there's a lot of help in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of these guys are pretty good. But that's the thing about Crossfire. It's really pretty simple, especially when it comes to upgrading the firmware. You know, you put when you upgrade the firmware on your transmitter module, the next time you try to connect to any receiver, it'll pretty much force you to upgrade the firmware over the air to the receiver module to match. So I know I had that happen to me. I had upgraded the firmware in my Micro TX2 and went out to fly it the next morning, and it wouldn't bind to the receiver, and I forgot about that. So I hit bind, and all of a sudden it says the firmware in your receiver is out of date. Would you like to update it? I said yes. Updated it right over the air, connected, and I was in business. If that was a FR Sky, I would have been removing the receiver out of the quad, soldering wires to it, plugging it into the back of my transmitter, trying to locate the firmware somewhere on the SD card and doing an upgrade that way. So we'll see. But this is only the second Crossfire I've ever installed. So that's the nice thing about my show. It's not only for beginners, it's by a beginner. And speaking of beginners, there he is.
Hey, Bill, good to see you. And Mitch, good to see you. I flew my Tiny Hawk today. Went to test out the old GoPro Hero 5, and instead of video, I got a burst of JPEGs. So I did a whole hour of flying, and I'm like, what the? Luckily, I had another camera running, but it only did about 13 minutes because the card was full.
And what's that got to do with the Tiny Hawk?
Oh, well, I mean, if my cameras would work, you would have seen some really interesting.
Oh, I get you.
flying.
Okay. All right. So what you're telling us, Art, is we have to take you at your word that you
That's
flew
right.
your Tiny Hawk today, because you have no proof.
I'll probably get something out of the video that I did get.
Did you record it in the goggles at least? Or your goggles
Yeah,
don't
do it in
record
the
it?
goggles.
Oh, that's right. And did you fly indoors or outdoors?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was pretty windy outside today.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay, cool.
yeah. So I had almost got a haircut from it. I mean,
You don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Okay, what the hell is going on?
That thing will wrap your hair up in the blades.
Yeah, luckily my hair is
never,
short enough that it didn't do that.
Yeah, you'll never get it. You'll never get away.
Oh,
That's funny. That's funny.
well, with those the shroud on it, it keeps it from getting all up in there.
Shroud or not, you can certainly wind your hair up in that stuff.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. Ray Kelly's in the house. Hi, Ray. How you doing?
Yeah, hey, Ray.
Did we miss anybody? Miss saying hello to anybody? I don't think so.
Minnesota Paul.
Yeah. All
John
right.
Cookie, Michael Blade. Yeah.
So, you guys, if you don't mind, keep an eye on the chat for me. I'm gonna go over here to the to there, and we're gonna take a look at this thing that I got. And I told you about this stupid deal. I got an email. In fact, I just got another email from Ray State Quads. They still got some of that clearance stuff left. They got a ton of stuff, and they've increased the discount to 15% on top of the clearance price.
Oh boy!
When I found this particular quad, the deal was, and this is an HGLRC Sector 132 with the DJI Air unit in it.
Uh-huh.
And the regular price on it's over $300, but they were selling it. They were selling this for $209, less another 10% discount on top of that. It came out to about $189 for this quad with the DJI Air unit, which by itself with no quad is $179. And I said, there's got to be something wrong with this. They're selling this whole thing for $10 more than just the air unit costs. And I figured you can't go wrong with a deal like that. So I ordered it, and I went back a little while later thinking I'd pick up a second one at that price, because I've been meaning to pick up a couple of air units. And I figured, well, hell, if I can pick up a couple of air units with quads attached for the same money, I have a lot of spare parts for quads. And then we're all gone. So evidently people grabbed them up. So this is it. I have opened the box because I couldn't wait to see what it looked like. And now I'm going to basically unpack the box and show you how this comes. And it is already built. And that's it. And to give you a little size comparison, there's a tiny hook. So it is bigger. It is bigger than the tiny hook. And this is my 3-inch reptile. And it's a little smaller and lighter than the reptile. But this is basically a 3-inch quad.
You don't want to get that a reptile.
No, we don't want any of that reptile dysfunction, Art. Hold on. All right, okay. At any
So that
rate,
came with a DJI unit in it, huh?
Yeah, it came with not the Vista, but the full-blown DJI Air unit with the SD card and the DJI camera. So let me zoom in on this puppy a little bit. And I tried to get, I was typing up an email to send out to everybody to take a look at this real quick, you know, and then I went back and looked again to make sure I was going back to make sure I had the link to the right page, and it was sold out. That was how fast it went. It went 15, 20 minutes from the time they sent that. They had some Vista units too, and the Vista units were gone by the time I got there, which was about 5 minutes after I got that email. So this was evidently they really wanted to clear these things out, and they did. But this one is the HGLRC, which is a good name in quads. And I watched a couple of YouTube reviews on it. Of course, I watched them after I bought it, and they were pretty favorable. A lot of people, but you know, the market now is starting to get flooded with just this type of quad. It's not. This thing's kind of an all-purpose deal. It's not really I guess you could call it a Cinewhoop. You could call it a indoor quad. You can fly it with 2.5-inch props with the guards, or take the guards off and put 3-inch props on it, in which case it's going to be pretty similar in size to the Acrobat, which is no guards, 3-inch props. And I managed to cram a DJI Air unit into this little puppy. And these little 3-inch quads with the air units in them, they fly great. I love this Acrobat, and yet this is a more substantial quad. It's a little bit, maybe a little bit heavier. The frame and everything is a little bit heavier than the little HGLRC one. But anyway, that comes with it, and you get in this bag you get spare cable for the air unit. You get the 2 antennas, and in certain respects, I kind of like this setup better than the little 90-degree connectors that come on the antennas usually, that you have to snap back in the back of the air unit, because that doesn't give you much of a mounting option. In this case, they actually have little pigtails in there and SMA connectors on the back for the 2.
You know how guys like pigtails, especially on girls.
We love our pigtails. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the antennas on, so that if and when I get to plug in the battery in, I don't forget to have it plugged in. So that's how it looks with the antennas. Now they also give you these 2 little antenna straws that you would use with an XM Plus. But since I'm putting the Crossfire in here, I want to see if I can pull these out. There we go. Don't need those. Save them for another time when I think I'm going to use the straws. So I don't. Oh, they also give you this. This is this cutest little thing. This little camera mount that you can screw onto the front here, and
Oh, cool.
you can strap a little GoPro or some small little
Right?
HD camera. But I tend not to put the GoPros on the DJI units, because, especially with the Air unit, because they record, perfectly adequate footage. Maybe not as good as a GoPro Hero 7 or something like that, not as stabilized, but you can always stabilize it in post. However, they do give you this little mount, but I don't think I'm going to put that on right away. And they give you a spare cable for the Air unit, and they give you a bag of motor screws that are shorter than the motor screws that come, because in order to take these guards off, you have to remove the motors, and then if you take the guards off, the motor screws that are long enough to go through the guards are too long, and they'll hurt the motors. So that's what these are for. And the bag says, used to fixed motors after guard is removed. So they got the English pretty close. They just got the word fixed. They give you 2 sets of props. They give you the 2.5-inch props with the guards, and a set of 3-inch props for without the guards. And they give you a set of these HQ props, which are really nice props. Those HQ props are the props that I've been flying on this quad. And the video that I showed during the intro was shot with that 3-inch Cinewhoop, and that thing really flies smooth. It's really nice. And the reptile art, the reptile. And let's see what else we got. We got more screws. We got another bag here, which I haven't opened yet. They give you a couple of battery straps.
Oh, looks like they give
Battery
you stickers.
What stickers? There's no stickers here. And okay, Art, do it, Art.
Okay.
Do it.
All right, hold on.
Come on. We're waiting. We'll do it.
Stickers, I like stickers. Yes, I do.
Thank you, Art. Not only do they give you stickers, they give you multicolored stickers in many different sizes. So that's terrific. They do give you the instructions that come with the DJI Air unit. They give you a
Chinese too.
They give you a little business card with a bunch of barcodes on it.
Yep.
Quality control certificate,
all
in Chinese. Is that what that says? Okay.
Yep.
And they actually give you instructions with it, which is great, considering that I have to put this. And they do show you on the board here. They do give you the wiring for the Crossfire receiver, which is nice. And it looks like it uses UART1 for the DJI system and UART2 for the Crossfire. And I don't know how many UARTs it has, but we'll find out when we hook it up to Betaflight. It also says in here that it can take up to a 6S LiPo, which means that this board, and I only saw, in all the reviews of this thing that I saw, where it said it would take up to a 3 or 4S LiPo, because if the DJI Air unit happens to be wired right to the battery and not to a voltage regulator, a 6S will blow out an Air unit. The Vista will run on 6S, but the Air unit is limited to 4S. But I'm not going to run it on any more than 4S anyway, so I won't worry about it. And for those of you that don't speak English, we have the same thing on the back in Chinese. So anyway, that's what we got. And I think the first thing that I want to do is take the top plate off of it. Can you all see it? Is it centered in? Is it focused okay?
Yeah, it looks great.
All right. And another country heard from here. Let me bring him in. Mr. Adrian Mateo Drones. Hey, Adrian, I hope I didn't keep you waiting in there long. I wasn't looking at that screen. I was looking at the...
Yeah, man. I literally almost fell asleep on you.
Adrian?
How you doing, Bill? How you doing, Art?
Okay, you guys can entertain the crowd, and we have 27 people watching this. The turning of the screws here. Okay, so now I got to be careful because there's a TPU mount for this air unit mounted to the top plate, and that has 4 screws in it. So I don't need to take them out because I want the air unit to come up with the top plate. So I need to remove the rest of these screws. See, we're living up to the name Workshop tonight, guys. We're working in the shop. All right, so that's that. These screws here are for the air unit. Now, they do have a wire sticking out here, which I guess would be for a receiver already wired up somewhere, but it only has 3 wires. So if you had an XM Plus, that would be battery, ground, and S-bus. But for Crossfire, you need 4 wires. So we're going to have to go in and do some soldering. And I also want to make sure that I check that the motors are, the ESCs are programmed and the motors are running in the right directions, because I've gotten a couple of pre-built quads where the motors were backwards. Now I got to be careful because the antennas are still hooked to this, and they're the pigtails. So what I need to do is probably, is there a nut on that? Yeah, there's a nut holding. I don't want to take this off the top plate, but I can probably, God, that's going to be fun to get those things on again. Maybe I can just swing it over to the side like that. Okay, so there we go. I can see the board and probably work around it without having to remove. Well, maybe I can remove it now that I have it off to the side here. That I was just going to leave it. We're just going to leave it in. All right, we can take the metallic looking quality control sticker off of the flight controller. I know it's probably plastic, but I'd rather not have it on the flight controller. I'll stick it on the box. All right. And let's take a look at this. What? Yes, what?
Jim is here from above.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good, Art. Yeah, talk to the people in the chat. Let's take a look at this flight controller and see where the connections are. So this wire here that I think, to the receiver, comes around to what looks like see if I can read the labels on here. Wow, that's tiny. That's RX1. Wow, they got the 2 yellow wires going to the same pad that says S-bus.
How's it going, Kelly?
Well, there's TX. Who's here? Is that Kelly?
Kelly,
Hey, Kelly, how you
sure.
doing, buddy? Ready, set, drones. Good to see you. Bob Casey's in the house. Hi, Bob. Jim, above and beyond. Good to see you, my friend. Who else did I miss? You guys aren't paying attention here.
Yeah, well, you don't listen to me.
All right, this is very strange because it's got it is very strange. The air unit, you have to bear with me. I don't want to do this. The air unit of the DJI should have a gray it has a green and white. Okay, so the yellow wire from the DJI air unit is the S-bus receiver, and I don't need that. And
Hey, Mitch, I don't want to interrupt you, but Ready Set Drone wants to know what you're working on.
Kelly, it's a HGLRC Sector 132 that I just got with it, and it has the DJI air unit in it, and I'm not used since I don't have a DJI transmitter, which it's already wired for. I'm putting Crossfire in it, so I need to do a little modifications on it, and that's what we're doing tonight. And then we're going to go into Betaflight and get it all set up. So what I need to do is I need to try to figure out what goes where on this motherboard. So we've got S-bus and RX1, and it looks like TX1 is clear on the other side of the are yellow and white the two center wires on this air unit? This is very, very strange because that's a. Guys, bear with me because I want to make sure that.
We'll wait for it.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting the way they've got this wired up here. It looks like this air unit has an 8 connector plug in it, and my other air units only had 6 connector plugs, if I'm not mistaken. So the air unit, the red is battery, the black is ground, white is RX1, which goes to TX1 on the board, which is way over on this side of the board here, which is unusual. So this white wire is TX1 and the yellow wire is RX1. Okay. And that's also labeled S-bus. So that makes sense. So what I need to do is I need to remove these 3 wires here. I need to remove this this receiver wire here. Got to be careful not to hit these plastic guards. I'll melt them. All right, so I need to remove. Start with the black wire. Is this riveting, guys? Is this
Yeah.
Is this
Just need some mood music.
you guys gonna hang in there? Hope is this like NASCAR waiting for the big crash? Come on, soldering iron. Jesus. God, I can't get that solder blob to melt on there. Okay. Let's try it again.
Pull.
There
There
it
you
is. There's the black
There's that one.
and the red. And the yellow is soldered to a terminal with two wires. So they're sharing S bus and TX1, which is very strange. And let's see if I can get the one wire out without the other one coming off.
There
No,
you go.
No, there I didn't go. The other one popped off. So I need to put
Oh,
the other yellow wire here needs to go back onto that. I should have just I could have just cut it. Where are my tweezers here? That's not the ones I want. There they are. Okay. So we need to take this yellow wire and get it back onto this little pad right here. Okay.
there.
Okay, so that got rid of the receiver wire,
Right.
but and it's still got the receiver. Let's see where the Crossfire goes. The Crossfire goes to TX2 and RX2, but that doesn't, this is a very strange layout on this board. There's RX1, S bus. Oh, okay. RX2 and TX2 are these two right over here on the end. And there's a ground here that also goes to the DJI Air unit. Let me see if I can't figure out a better way to get into this thing here. There, maybe that'll work better. So you see what I'm trying to figure out here is there's looking at the wiring down here. You can see it of the air unit. It shows red is the battery, and then there's a black wire, and then there's the white and green, which are the UARTs, and then there's these two yellow and black wires right here, which yellow and black. Okay, so I don't need this ground. I don't need this ground because that is the ground for the receiver, and that comes off. And I also don't need the S bus wire, which is that's that yellow wire that I just put back on. So I don't need that either. So we take that off. Okay. So, okay. So that these two wires here, I don't need because they're from the receiver of the air unit. I need the power of the air unit, and I need the TX1 and RX1 so that when I click the arm switch, it will tell the flight controller that it's armed, and it'll also send any OSD information into the air unit so I can display it on my goggles. And then the receiver, the Crossfire, needs 5 volts ground and an RX and a TX, and these 4 pins right here. See if I can zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing. I know the light probably isn't the best, but these 4 pins right here, are where I got to hook the Crossfire receiver. So let me take just a break from that. I think I got it figured out. If the whole thing goes up in smoke, it'll be very entertaining, guys. You know, it'll be fun to watch. It'll be one of those NASCAR disasters. Let me take a little break here. Talk to the guys. How you doing, everybody?
Doing great, Professor.
Good. Yeah, they don't give you the greatest of instructions on how to do this. I guess they figure either know what you're doing or you're going to fly it with the DJI transmitter. If that was the case, it would have been ready to go. I just had to bind everything up, put the props on, and go into Betaflight, make sure it had the switches set properly.
Hey, Mitch. Kelly already said Jones said that he have a tech question for you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Kelly. I'm going to take a few seconds here, and then I will. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get the little receiver and the wires for the receiver and all that. So go ahead and ask the question, and we'll see if I have an answer. I'm going to use one of these Immortal T antennas and a set of wires and the receiver, which is the tiniest damn thing you've ever seen. Did Kelly ask his question yet?
Haven't seen it yet.
Still
Well,
waiting.
there it is right now.
I have an FPV that won't show up in Betaflight. Well, there's a lot of ifs there, Kelly.
He says it when I plug it in, it just doesn't show up.
What kind of quad is it? Is it a brand new quad? Is it something that worked and now it doesn't work? Do the lights blink on the controller? Night Train Mike says, yeah, sometimes you might have to run the impulse driver fixer, which you download and just run. He says it's new. If you want to come on into the panel, Kelly, and we can talk about it, because otherwise we just be going back and forth here.
Come on, Kelly.
Yeah, come on in, Kelly. I think I sent you
in here.
I sent you a link, and if you didn't get the link, he said yes. Okay, yes. Come on in, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see if we can't get you working. Let me find the link, and I'll try. Okay. Any of you guys have Kelly's email address? Art, do you have Kelly's email address?
Yeah.
Send him the link.
All right, will do.
Okay. And while we're waiting for Kelly to come in, I'll go back over here to this thing and back to this mess and zoom out here a little bit. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up this little nano receiver, which is about the size of an SD card. Look at this. And it's got four wires on it that go to it down here. And I have some wires in this bag.
Hey, Mitch, which wires did you say you left hooked up from the DJI Air unit?
I left the red and black, which is the battery and ground, and the two center wires on the connector, the TX and RX pins. The ones that I took out were the ground and the S bus. which is the output of the receiver that's in the air unit,
Which
that,
we won't need anymore.
which you don't need if you're going to Crossfire, correct? Okay, I got some wires, some wires here. I need a red, a black, a yellow, and a white. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this mess out of the way and bring in this. Am I on the screen there?
Yeah.
There we go. And we're going to solder these wires to this teeny little receiver. And I think that this is up, but what I need to do is I need to get, there's the picture right up here of the Crossfire receiver with the antenna over here like that. So ground on this is the square little pad. So that's where I start working with it. So that would be the black wire on the square pad. Can you guys see the? It's a little tiny here. Let me zoom in so you can see the soldering action here. Man, look at that. It's like working under a microscope. I'd be better off looking at the screen as opposed to the actual receiver itself. All right, so what we're going to do is they got holes in them, and I could put the wires in the holes and then solder them, but that's actually harder to do than just making a little pad. So let's just make little puddles on these pads here.
Mm-hmm.
And on the first one, we'll put the black wire. Well, let's start with the other side because, so they're calling it blue and green, but I don't have blue and green. I'll use yellow and white. So I will use, the yellow to go to the RX and the white to go to the TX. So the white one goes on the end here. And then the next one would be the yellow.
Oop. Mm.
And then the red.
Oh, that's good.
And then the black. Okay.
Hey, Chris Hope.
Hey, Chris. Oh, here, I got all kinds of, looks like I got people in the green room. We got Kelly and Chris both. Hey, let me get back to this and bring you guys in and say hi, and then we'll get back to building. Let's see if we can help Kelly out. Kelly,
Hey,
Kelly.
how's
how
it
you doing,
going?
my friend? Good to see you.
Yeah,
And-
thanks for letting me jump in. Hey, Chris.
Oh,
What's up?
you're always welcome, man. You know that.
Chris, good to see you there. Yeah, all right.
What's
All
up,
right, let
Captain?
me shut my soldering iron off for a minute.
Art.
And we'll,
Chris, you were the best
What's up,
guest
Bill?
Ken Heron has had in a long time.
oh yeah,
Thank you very much.
you did a great job, Chris. You really
Well,
did.
I'm going to be honest with you. I had a lot of fun.
Good. Yeah,
Good.
it's fun. It's chaos, but it's fun.
I was able to keep up with him, and I felt pretty good. If I can hang with Ken Heron for 20, 30 minutes, I'm good.
That's right.
You did, and interestingly enough, He must be afraid of you because he didn't make fun of you at all. And he always makes fun of
Chris builds knives, and you should be afraid.
Chris, I didn't know that you were a knife maker.
I try, Mitch. I've been working on it probably for about 10 to 12 years. I've been fooling with them, and I haven't made but one this year. I got away from it. Drones took my interest, and I got away from making knives. But I used to be a huge knife collector, and I put on knife shows in Orlando. I had all the big name guys. I had Bob Lovelace would come to my shows. Yes.
Al Pendre, Lorensky, all the big name guys, Jimmy Schmidt, all the big guys would come to this knife show from all over the world. It was crazy, and I loved it. In fact, there was a knife maker in Kerrville, Texas, named.
You're going to say it.
Well, there's a couple of them out there, and it's been so long that the names don't roll off my tongue. But we'll need to get together and talk about that, because I actually went out to Kerrville a couple times.
Did you?
To these guys' places, yeah. And Al Scott was one of them. He died. He was an incredible guy, and I'm trying to think who else lived out there. But Gil Hibben, all these names. Gil Hibben, these guys were friends of mine for years and years. Great guys. I used to go hang out in their shops. Steve Schwarzer, I used to go hang out in their shops. And they had me making knives. I was terrible at it. I couldn't. Man, they all had these big pneumatic air hammers,
Oh yeah.
And I was afraid I'd squash my hand in those things. The way they worked them was nuts.
Here's the we'll get off. You get back with your drone stuff, man. Here's the last one I've been fooling with. You know what this is?
Looks like a straight razor.
They call this a castrating knife.
Oh shit! Okay, for farmers would know about that.
Cowboys use them. They'll bite down on it, roll a calf over, and
ouch!
Cut them out, and go on down the road.
Ouch!
I made a couple of these.
We'll have to talk about knives on a Thursday night. We'll start. I'll show you some pictures. I used to go to about a dozen knife shows a year. I went to anywhere from Seattle up to Manhattan in March, and then in January I put on a show in Orlando.
Cool.
It was like a way of life. I loved it. I loved it.
Drone bump said, "Oops, wrong string."
Ouch. How about them drones, though?
Hey, I'm the only guy in this group that has a Chris dagger.
Really?
Anybody know what a Chris is?
Yeah. It's the wavy.
Yep.
Dagger.
Yeah. Filipino made it for my dad during World War II.
Like something you might see in Game of Thrones, huh?
Yeah,
kind of. I need to get a seat for it. I can put on my belt and I can pull it out. And...
Well,
Kelly, tell us about your problem, Kelly.
Yeah, so let me show you here real quick.
Take care.
This guy right here.
Hang on. I'm gonna make you big here, so I can see it. There we are.
It's a GEP-RC Mark IV, and it's got the Caddx transmitter in it right here. And the Vista is in it, and it's there's two questions I have. Number one, it's got this cable hanging off the side here. Do you see that cable hanging off?
Yeah, that's probably for the receiver.
So
in other words, it's you have the same exact setup, the same thing that I'm working with right now. Not only did it have the DJI Air unit or the Vista already hooked up to the receiver, it actually gave you that cable in case you're not using the DJI and you want to put like an XM Plus or something on it.
Okay. So here's the thing. It's already bound to my DJI radio and goggles, and so I can see video. I can arm it. I could fly it tomorrow if I wanted to.
You can arm it through the flight controller.
Yes.
No,
Well, I
it's
can arm
everything
it. I can arm it through the DJI system.
Through the radio. Okay.
Yeah. The radio.
That means that's communicating with the flight controller, and the does it beep when you plug the battery in, and it does all that stuff?
Yeah. No, it's ready to fly, but it's configured differently than I'm used to. So I'm used to my kill switch being arm switch and kill switch being in one spot, and my rates being in a different spot. And I could fly it. It's also got a GPS unit, which is kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
So this was sent to me by GEPRC. They're like, "Hey, review this." So okay, and it looks really cool.
They don't send me anything like that, but that's because I don't have 100 million subscribers.
Well, let's team up and you help me out, and I will hook you up with stuff like this, because they did send me this, and I'm excited about it. And I've seen some other reviews. It's also pretty good for long range. Anyway, the point is that it has on the side here. So there's the air unit, or the Cadix, the Vista unit back here, which has a USB-C.
Correct.
And I plugged that in. I use DJI Assistant, and I activated it, and I bound it, and all that good stuff. And then I've never actually seen a flight controller that also has USB-C. So this is also
a USB. Okay, that's just brand new. That's something brand new.
Yeah.
They're starting. I have never seen one in person, but I understand they're starting to put the USB-C on flight controllers.
As they should, because USB-C is so much better than micro USB as far as plugging it in, and a million reasons. So speed, etc. But when I plug this into Betaflight, and I'd say I'm a solid C student in Betaflight right now. When I plug it into Betaflight, it just doesn't show up. Like, when it shows up and it shows you its orientation, kind of its it never shows up, and I never get the UART. Is it the UART?
The COM number, up top.
I never get a COM port that opens for this.
All right, let me ask you a couple questions. Number one, when you plug it into the computer, do you get the computer go ding? You know how it does when you plug a USB port in? You'll get a sound from the computer.
Well, can I do it real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Hold on, I'll do it real quick. Let's see.
You know how when you plug a USB device in, you'll get the computer will make a sound. Doo-doop. It goes doo-doop, and then when you unplug it, it goes doo-doop the other way.
He can't hear you until he has the headphones.
Oh, okay. You know the sound I'm talking about. It goes
It's the I just plugged the USB thing into my. All right, so let me open up Betaflight real quick. So I use my laptop.
Before you plug in Beta, before you even have anything to do with Betaflight, when you plug a USB device into a computer, it makes a sound.
Yeah. So let me
see if
let me go ahead and turn the volume up on this guy on my laptop. So I use my laptop for all the Betaflight stuff. Let's see if it does anything. Here we go. I'm plugging in 3, 2, 1.
Are there any lights blinking on the flight controller?
No lights blinking on the flight controller.
Okay. Try a different USB cable.
Okay. And I did do that. I'm not saying that isn't the issue, but I did try several. So let me grab a different one here.
But the flight controller works when you plug it in.
Oh, actually, I have another one right here. So
okay. And you're sure that's a data cable, not just a charging cable?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but we'll see. Okay. that could be the case. It could just be the cable, honestly. But I did try probably 3 different. No.
See, even John Coopy said he bets that the USB-C isn't a data cable, maybe just a charging cable. But But I
thought USB-C was smarter than that. You know what I mean? I thought USB-C was designed to be.
It's still. They have all different kinds of cables. There's cell phones that charge at high rate, that have different wiring in the cables than regular cables, and different chargers that have different capacities.
I'm going to try a third. Try
a third one.
Now they don't have a battery in the drone either. Is that?
No, you don't want a battery in the drone for this. You want the actual flight controller to be able to be powered up from the computer.
Nope. Nada from that one
Nothing.
either.
No blinking
Now-
lights.
Now, if I open Betaflight though, should that do it, or should it not matter?
No, it shouldn't matter.
No.
You should be getting.
Some-
Now, let me ask you a question. Which cable did you use when you did your Vista unit?
One of these three that I just tried, and
Because obviously that cable was okay. Because
and actually, I mean, I immediately after doing that, I immediately plugged in. Let me just open Betaflight real quick and just see what happens here.
you can try. You can see if you can see what happens. But what I'm going to do here is.
And this has been something that's happened to me for ever since I've started messing with FPV stuff. Is even with micro USB, I've still had this issue where I can't get it to show up. I can't get it to.
Well, yeah, but it should power the flight controller. There should be some lights blinking on that. Let me.
So I've got Betaflight open, and there's still no lights.
Okay, let me show you what happens here when I plug this. Now I got all these wires up, but I don't think I have anything shorted, and I'm just plugging in the USB plug. So I'm going to plug the USB plug in, and
You get some lights.
well, I'm going to find out in a minute.
Oh yeah, yep.
And I just heard that doot 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 thing in my headphones. Okay. So I'm now connected to this, but you have to get lights. If you're not getting lights, here, there's a good chance that, and I mean,
is it possible it's a data only USB or is it a
no
power only USB?
I don't think there's any such thing as a data only. I think there's power and data and just data. But there's a John Coopy said, or somebody had said, there's a cable that actually came with your DJI goggles that is going to be a cable that should work. Did you by any chance take a look at that flight controller and see if you didn't damage or pop the USB connector loose?
No,
it may be that
this thing was just sitting in a box. It's not been flown. It's not been jostled.
Do you have a regular computer somewhere? Not where you are, but can you? No, not the laptop. Just a regular computer.
You mean like a desktop?
Yeah, you have one handy.
Yeah, that's what I'm using right now.
Try plugging it into that and see what happens.
All right, let's see what happens if I plug into the desktop. Hold on. Go back here to USB-C. And
all the guys, I'll tell you, this is like stump the chat, because all the guys in the chat are having a great time here tonight.
Well, I'm glad. I mean,
everybody's making suggestions. Bent pin, bad cable.
So that's plugged into the desktop. I'm using now. It's an iMac. So I'm using an iMac.
Okay.
With a USB-C native output, and it's still not lighting up.
No lighting up. Okay.
Yeah.
Would
it make a difference to put a battery on it?
No, you don't want
it. Shouldn't. It shouldn't.
It should power the flight controller. So you think there's just something bad? So either I've got 3 bad or 3 non-functional USB-C cables, which is possible. I mean, I have tons of USB-C cables, so I can't find one.
I have not.
Get them all out. Let's test them.
I haven't had any experience with the USB-C on a flight controller, but I can't imagine they've done anything different.
Well, this is the first time I've ever seen it too. This is the first time I've ever seen USB. All right, so this actually is a USB-C to USB-A, the original USB. So let me see if this makes a difference. Maybe it only gets enough power from USB-A. Oh, wait a minute.
There.
You were using a USB. I had no idea that you were using a cable that had USB-C on both ends.
That's what I was using. Yes. Is that
duh?
Okay.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Kelly, anybody home?
There's no way you could have known that. There's no way you could have known that.
I'm gonna plug it into a USB-A connector. Let me see with Betaflight. Let me see if it shows up in Betaflight.
Oh, if it lights up,
Yeah.
it'll show up in Betaflight.
Yeah.
All right, hold
Go
on.
ahead. Okay.
I wonder why that didn't work.
Does USB-C to USB-C are probably wired differently. I know that I have some things when I go to charge that if I try to plug a cable that goes from a charger with a USB-C into it, it won't work. I have to use a USB-A to USB-C to get the charge thing to light up. I think the powers might be wired a little differently. There's so many different ways they wire these stupid USB-C connectors.
Yeah.
For example, my Jumper T16 has a USB-C port for charging. It will not charge if I have a C to C connector. It'll only charge if I have an A to C connector. You go figure.
All right.
And that's the same thing that's happening to Kelly is that he wasn't getting power to it.
Well, hold on before we get too far along. It is lighting up now. You see it there? See the light?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's lighting up, but it's still not showing up in Betaflight. So currently I have
Well, one step at a time, man.
Dev CU Bluetooth incoming port. I have Dev TTY Kelly's AirPods.
No, it should automatically switch to and say something like COM7, COM6.
Nope.
All right, unplug the flight controller.
Okay, unplug.
And plug it back in again.
All right, plug it back in. And Betaflight's still open.
Yeah, and watch up at the corner and see if it showed you a COM port.
No.
Ugh, I hate Apple. And that's an Apple notebook.
It is
or
Apple, yeah.
Windows?
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a PC at work. I could try it on that.
Well, it should show you now. You've used that notebook before with Betaflight?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. As a matter of fact,
So it has the right drivers. It's not that issue.
No, as a matter of fact, I actually set up I don't know where it is. I have a newbie drones that I set up the same day I was trying to set up this one. So so it worked fine for the newbie drones. It's just not working for this guy.
All right. Well, why don't you try closing Betaflight?
Close and reopen.
Unplug the drone.
Okay. Okay. Betaflight is closed. Now I'm reopening
now reopen Betaflight.
Yep, doing that right now.
And let Betaflight sit for a couple seconds, and then plug the drone in again and see if it doesn't detect it.
Okay.
And get a Windows computer.
I have one. I have one at work, so I have Betaflight on it just for this very reason. For when stuff doesn't work on the Mac. Nope.
It just seems like, Macs are good at certain things, like you want to do Photoshop and stuff like that.
It's funny, I've used several other GEP-RC drones, the Rocket Light, and the Phantom HD, and I've not had any problems on this machine.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not showing up.
Still not showing up.
It says serial port successfully open with ID2 over on the left, but yeah, no.
And what happens if you hit connect? Nothing.
Nothing. It just sits there for a second, and then it goes back and says failed to connect.
And what COM ports choices do you have in the little drop down up there?
Hold on, it's still trying to connect. I have Dev TTY, Dev CU, Dev TTY, Dev CU, and those are Bluetooth, and then manual selection.
And I don't know why it's not discovering it for the life of me.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go back to your thing for a minute. I'm going to go search for a couple more cables and see if maybe.
Well, if it's it may very well be that you're getting the power on that cable, but you're not getting the data side of it. So
I've had that happen with micro USB before.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. All right.
That might
be it.
5-10 minutes. I'll go look for some cables and then I'll come right back.
All right. I'll just leave you in there, and I'll make myself big again and go back to work on my project.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're sneaking up on it, Kelly. All right, guys. Let me turn the soldering iron back on here.
There we go. Get back to business.
Let's get the right camera going. Here we are.
There we go.
And little zoom action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you see that?
Aren't you off tomorrow?
Am I off tomorrow? No, I gotta go work
You gotta
tomorrow.
work. Okay.
No holiday for me.
That's
Man,
right.
I
It's
look
a
like a-
holiday.
I look like
It's
a duck.
holiday tomorrow. Who's got the duck?
I look
Bill.
like a duck.
Yeah, somebody gets stuck with that duck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want the duck? I'll give Art the duck.
No, don't give.
There.
Give
How's
Adrian the duck.
Aflac.
Uh-oh. I better not give you the duck, Art. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, we'll put Kelly up there for right now. So nobody
There we go.
till he
That's
comes
on
back.
me there, Mitch. I'll go quack quack.
We're fine. We're fine. Now what I'm doing here is I got these wires all wired up. So now what I want to do is snap this tiny, ridiculous, I hate these little micro UFL connectors, but this is what they have. So I'm going to snap this on. And that made a nice firm click. And since I don't need to get to the bind button on this little receiver, I'm going to take a piece of this clear heat shrink now. And I'm going to cut myself off a hunk of this. I got this clear heat shrink, and I'm going to put the clear heat shrink over. I like heat shrink, you know that. And it looks really big, but I think it's going to shrink down enough to make sure that antenna stays connected. And we're going to heat shrink the whole mess here. This really is a tiny little receiver.
Hey, guess what?
What?
This
It
cable
was the
worked.
cable?
Yep. I just found a cable that worked.
It worked now. Okay.
Yep. I've got it showing up. Oh man, I'm so happy. I've been wanting to fly this guy for so long. Had tried 3 or 4 different cables, but apparently it took one more try.
Well, now what you need to do is label that cable with big red on a put
I'll tell you. I've got
a red tie wrap on it or something.
I've already got it. Where is it?
Anyway, I got the little receiver with the Immortal T antenna on it and ready to be soldered onto the board.
Awesome.
So we're waiting while we wait for Kelly to come back, and I will find.
So Mitch, this is my micro USB that works. Notice I have a spin up sticker, spin up sticker around it. So that's
there you go. Yeah.
This is my micro USB that I know works. So now I'm going to take this USB-C and put a spin up sticker.
Yeah.
So
And tell everybody in your family, Kelly,
do not use this
do
cable.
not touch this cable for any reason.
Fair Bolton. Oh man,
Well, that's great. You know, I got one of those. Not like exactly like what, but I actually built one quite a while ago. When the DJI stuff first came out, I bought the Get 5 Mark IV frame.
Yeah.
And I'll go get it. I'll show you. Hold on.
Well, that's what this is. This is a Mark IV frame, I believe. I think it might. Well, we'll see when he gets back. But yeah, it's definitely. I've had that problem with micro USB before, and so I really should have just tried more cables, I suppose. But I tried 3, and I kind of figured after 3, it's got to be that. Is that the same? Is that the same frame as this one?
It's there it is, right side up. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, that's the same.
It's got the TPU mount in the back.
Yep.
For the air unit, and I've got the full size air unit in this one, not the Vista, but the full size.
This has the Vista, but I think it's the same frame.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a Gep. It's the Gep Mark 5 or something.
Yeah, it's the Mark 4 4K
or something. At any rate, it's a great flying.
And it has this nice protection here in the front for your camera. It's got this rounded metal part, right? Does yours have that?
Yeah, well, it's carbon. It's
carbon. Yeah. But it basically, if you bump into something, you're not going to damage.
Yeah, you see it. You see it up there. See it rounded.
Yep.
I got the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same frame, and I say I actually this has I'm sure all different electronics than yours, but I've got a diatone. I think it's a diatone flight stack in it. I've got the GPS. I just stuck the GPS right up top here, rather than
this one's here
on the back. It's got yeah, because you've got one antenna on yours and I've got two antennas because it's the air unit.
So you mentioned this cable here is for a different flight controller, correct?
No, a receiver.
A receiver. So if I'm going to use the DJI receiver, what should I do?
I would just
on or
coil it up and tie wrap it underneath somewhere out of the way.
Can I just zip tie it to the arm here?
No, I'd try to stuff it inside somewhere where it's not going to get snagged in a propeller. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh man, you have made my night. I am so
glad.
I've had this damn thing laying around for about a month now. And this is the one I wanted to bring to spin up because it's a long range and I thought it would, or spin down. I thought it would be great for flying out over the lake, but I could never get it to, well, as I said, it's bound and I could have flown it, but all the switches are different. So I would have, I was trying to kill it. And I want all my switch setups to be the same.
I agree. I always set everything. So, and that's especially when you get into iNav where you're using every switch on the damn radio. I'm serious. You use just about every switch on the radio with iNav because you've got. I'll show you. You've got arm and disarm up here, and this one would be auto tune and auto trim, and this would be mode, and this would be altitude hold and position hold, and this one is return to home, and this one is your auto launch, and this one is your 3 different OSD displays, and this one is your beeper. So you right across
all that stuff. You've memorized.
Yeah, because when I first started, I had a cheat sheet that I printed up. Had a picture. I took a picture of the front of the transmitter and put in what everything was.
I used to tape a cheat sheet to my first couple of quads with the prop directions on it. It was just like it just had little circles and arrows.
Yeah.
Which prop went, because I had a hard time telling which prop went where, and so I had a little cheat sheet for it.
Well, this thing that I bought, Kelly, this thing that I'm working on now, I'm putting a Crossfire in it with the Immortal T antenna here, but it's 2.5 inch with the shroud, 3 inches without the shroud.
Yeah, that's super similar to the rocket.
That's why I wanted it, because of you and your stupid rocket. And how much fun you were having with that. But did you hear the deal I got on this?
No. What was it?
Okay, Race Day Quads sent out an email. They were having a clearance sale. So right when I got the email, I went right to it. I was sitting at my computer when it came in. I went right to it, and sure enough, here's this thing, and it says it's a HGLC Sector 132 with a DJI Vista.
With a full air unit in it.
Well, they had it both ways. They had it with a Vista and with a full air unit. With the Vista, it was $179. With the full air unit, it was $209. And then you had Then you took an additional 10% off with a coupon.
That's awesome. Race Day
I paid $189 for this. Now, how much does an air unit cost?
Oh, it's more than that by itself.
$179.
Yeah.
$179. So I paid $189. So I basically bought an air unit and got the rest for $10.
That's awesome.
It's incredible. And I went back to buy a second one. After I figured out that it was a deal of the century, I went back to buy a second one. It was sold. They were all sold out. Took 5 minutes, I think, to sell them all out.
I will tell everyone in this chat, as well as on the stream right now. I'm actually going to make a video about. I really feel like that form factor with those ducted quads or ducted props and the DJI system is such a great place for camera drone people to start with FPV, because it's such
my God.
It's so easy to set up as long as you have the right cable. I feel like that's like where if starting with the tiny whoop is great, but then, like Art, I know you're flying and also Chris, I know you guys are both flying Tiny Hawks quite a bit right now. When you're ready to move on, the Rocket, or what did you say that one was called?
That was called the Sector 132, but everybody's got one. There's so many of them.
That form factor is so nice because you can fly that in your backyard. I mean, you can fly that.
You can fly it in the house.
You can
fly this indoors. Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna fly next.
So is that your Tyro?
That's the Tyro. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
I got to the part where Bardwell got pissed off, and I put it down.
Even Bardwell gets pissed off at some of these things that
I tried to watch it 2 or 3 times. I may have to call Mitch offline and ask him about this one wire.
Call me. I'll help you. Listen, I build a ton of those things. I'm very familiar with how they go together.
That's awesome.
It's great.
What receiver are you putting in it?
Crossfire.
And Chris is putting the Crossfire in it?
Oh no, I'm putting the Crossfire in mine.
What are you putting in it, Chris?
What came in the box, Kelly?
Okay, is that Free Sky?
I don't think you get a receiver with that.
Yeah, you have
to buy a receiver.
Buy a receiver with it. That's right.
All right, then what's all this shit here hanging off of it?
Hold it up. Hang on a second. Let's.
I got the cord.
Yeah, make Chris big.
Let's see. Hold it up. What is it?
Hold it up.
Show me the wires, and we'll tell you where they go.
This is the GPS. I know what this is.
Hold it up a little higher.
Chris,
I can't see the wires.
You can't see it.
There we go. Yeah, that's the GPS.
Oh, that's the GPS.
That's the video transmitter. VTX.
Yep.
There's the camera.
And there's the camera. Okay. Well, we're sneaking up on the.
And this is the board it all plugs into.
Yep.
Right. So you have so what you don't have is a receiver.
Explain that to me.
Talks to the radio.
A receiver is.
I may not have it. I may not have it out of that box yet. It may still be in the box.
No, they don't give you a receiver because everybody has different kinds of radios. Everybody might have a Spectrum or a Free Sky or a Jumper.
You know what? That's the part I'm at on Bardwell's deal. That's the piece that's not in the box. That's exactly right. That's where he was fixing to install that.
So what you need to do is you need to go and get yourself an XM Free Sky, FR Sky XM Plus receiver. They're about $15-20 bucks. You can get them on Amazon. You get them at Race Day Quads. You get them anywhere.
Yep.
Let me get a hammer and a chisel and I'll do it.
What kind of radio? What transmitter do you have, Chris?
Jumper.
Okay. Yeah, you can use
T18, I believe.
Yeah. The Jumper, the Free Sky XM Plus, and the protocol on the Jumper we'll help you set it up when you're ready. But the protocol will be a FR Sky D16. I'm sorry, D16 protocol. Because that transmitter has the multi-protocol module. And when you go to set it up, you have to tell it what the manufacturer is and what protocol you want to use. It's easy to do.
It's easy, but that's definitely a gotcha, Chris, because I've had several times where I was set up for D8, or I had my radio was set for D8 and it was a D16 and I couldn't bind it. Like I was like, yeah. So once you know that's one of those little gotchas. Once you know that you have to be D16 or D8 before it'll bind That's something I've learned.
That's one of the 5 trillion gotchas in the FPV hobby. You can't know everything. You have to just, after you learn the basics, you learn where to go find out what you need to know.
But you recommend, Mitch, the Free Sky, the FR Sky receiver, because it's pretty universal, right? I mean, so many people.
It's a good receiver. He's not going to go with Crossfire. And the FR Sky is XM Plus is just a good solid receiver that everybody uses. I've got a lot of quads with it. They work great. They're cheap, and the only problem with them is you gotta have to flash firmware on them when you get them, and that's a real hassle.
Yep.
When you get a new one.
Do you so why do you have to flash the firmware?
Because they don't ship them they have 37 different versions of firmware for those stupid receivers. And it's just one of the problems with FR Sky. They've got different versions for Europe. They got different versions, FCC versions. They have versions that output the RSSI signal on one of the channels, on a different channel, channel 8, channel 60. It's tricky the first time you do it, but you have to do it with, now they further complicated things by changing to a protocol called Access from ACCST. Access is their new one, supposedly to simplify things, but all they did was created a big problem with compatibility between the older systems and the newer systems, and it's a real nightmare. But for what he's got, I think the best receiver would be. Can you put
a Vista, a Caddx Vista, or a DJI Air unit into that Tyro?
No, there's no room for it. It's got a very small body, more like a rinse
on the top,
bottom mounted battery.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, it's like my Tyro 129.
Yeah, that's a 119, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But the frame is not long like this frame. They're not that long. It's a
Chris, I'm going to be calling you because I have a 119 still in the box. I have that kit still sitting in the box that I haven't started yet. So I'm going to wait till you're all good and flying, and then I'm going to call you.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. Chris, when it comes time, just get the receiver from somewhere. The FR Sky XM Plus. Get the receiver. Are you up to soldering? You got a soldering iron?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. You did. Okay, because you have to solder the wires to it. And it worst comes to worse, I'll make it up for you. I'll flash it, get the wiring on it with the plug you need. Basically, I'll send it to you. Just plug it in and go. But it's something you should probably learn to do yourself. And flashing the firmware on these things is not really that bad. It's just a few steps. You have to use.
But they always talk about bricking it, right? If you mess it up, you could brick the.
Yeah, but I've never done that. The way you do it is you're going to use the plugs that are in the JR bay on your radio. There's 5 plugs in there, and 3 of them are going to be used. So you're going to have to put a little connector onto the radio, it's the same connector you got hanging off of your quad there. It's a three-pin servo connector. Okay. And that connector like that, you'd hook to 3 of the pins on the FR Sky, you'd plug it into the back of your radio, set your radio up a certain way, have the firmware you need on your SD card in the radio, and then you would basically tell the radio to take this firmware and flash it in on the external module, and it'll flash it into the receiver, and then away you go.
See, I thought that was just the tail. Just the tail. I thought it was just the tail hanging off, wagging.
Yeah.
It's a happy quad.
Yeah. Until it gets caught in the prop.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, just let me know when you're ready for that, Chris. We'll make sure you can get it.
All right.
Yeah. And once you do it the first time, from there on out, it's a piece of cake. Unless you want to go and start spending money with Crossfire or some of these other protocols, it's not worth it. You have to learn how to flash. Now, if you get it, chances are you can probably make it work. Okay, but chances are you won't. You might. You don't know what kind of firmware it's got on it. You don't know if it's got the new AC access or the old. You need the ACCST. The access firmware will not work. The receivers won't work, I don't think, at this point with these multi-protocol modules. So
every FreeSky receiver I've received that was already, like a bind and fly with FreeSky in it, has always bound pretty easily to
they're all set up.
Radios. So
when they do that, when they do the bind and fly, they make sure that the appropriate firmware.
Oh, okay. It's if you buy the receiver by itself, then you've got to put the firmware on it.
That's when it might work, it might not. You might have the wrong firmware. You might not be getting an RSSI signal into your radio, so you can't see that on your goggles. So your receiver might work, but it might be missing that one feature, which you really want to have. Yeah.
Hey, I was going to tell you guys. You guys know, or you've seen in the chat, you've seen Kai Fredrickson. I met up with Kai. He was in Austin last week, and we met up, and we were going to fly, but the field where I usually fly had football practice going. A bunch of kids out there, so we didn't. But we are going to meet up in October sometime, and he's got a wing with the DJI digital system on it, and I want to chase that wing with the DJI system. So I'm excited about that.
Well, that'd be cool.
And he's like, yeah. I said, look, I won't do it if you're really worried about me crashing into it, because I might. Then we won't do it. He said, oh, no, let's do it. We can always fix it. So
yeah, that'd be fun. Hey, Mitch, just quick. Carlos needs help with a freestyle, he says.
Hang on a second.
Before I forget.
I'm trying to figure out how you're supposed to put this T antenna into this holder here without actually. I guess you're going to have to cut one side of this. Huh. I'm surprised. See that T holder? Can you see what I'm doing there? There's a T holder, a holder for this antenna.
Oh, yeah.
And you can only bend it so
right in.
Well, there's pop right in, except that it has to go in through the holes. So you either have to.
Oh, okay.
How you going to get both sides? I guess you're going to have to bend it like this.
Yep. Probably.
And bend these things out. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got to cut a slit in one of them. So let me see if this is the way to do it without breaking this immortal T antenna, because in that case, it would not be very immortal at all.
It'd be immortal.
We'll try that.
The mortal antenna.
The mortal, yeah. We'll try pushing this
from Mordor.
Well, I might have it here. Hold on a second.
Chosen antenna.
There you go.
Hang on, hold on. So much for bind and fly, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, look at that! I did it.
Yeah.
That's the way you had to do it.
You're so smart, Mitch.
Well, so Mitch, if you had used a DJI radio, you could have bound it pretty easily, right?
I could have been flying it already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except I don't have it. I don't have a DJI radio.
I will say
I don't want one.
Well, I'll say DJI's credit as far as their radio and their binding system goes. Typically for most of the smaller quads that I've had, it's usually pretty hard to find the bind button, but
no doubt.
But it's always on the Air unit and on the Vista unit. It's super easy to find. That's another reason I really like it. It's right here on the side. You can push it with your finger. You don't need a big screwdriver or something.
No doubt that DJI has taken half the technical stuff away.
They've made it so much easier.
It has. It really has. But for guys that have been in it a while and have 15 quads that use regular radios, that, and you know, and you can't fly any other quad with the DJI radio except the DJI.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah.
There's an investment there, but
Yeah,
man, just the difference between analog and digital. Wow. I have to say,
no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Well, did you see this? You didn't see the video that I was playing during my intro.
No, I came in probably about 7:15, 7:20. So I missed the intro.
This was shot with a Vista, and this is the goggles video.
Recording in the goggles at 7:20.
This is the goggles video on the Vista on that reptile, that red.
Oh yeah,
I showed you. Yeah, and the thing is so smooth.
Yep.
It makes you want to go cruising. And that's I was talking about that Thursday night. That's the newest phase is cruising FPV, which fits right in with my old guy style of relaxed flying, you know?
Yeah. And I think it fits in too with camera, cinematographer, camera drone people too, because, you know, most of us who have been doing this for a while with camera drones, we like smooth shots. But what the FPV gives you the ability to do is to fly in spaces where you couldn't, like you're about to go into that tree. I don't think I would do that. I don't think I'd do that with my Phantom. You know, I wouldn't do that with a Phantom.
No, and I'm going to go through the gate here too. So,
yeah.
You know, I mean,
it's so much more precise.
And that's what you see. Anybody who's never had the goggles on doesn't realize the experience. But that's what you see in the goggles.
This is exactly what you're seeing because the recording was done on the goggles with the Vista.
Yeah.
So it's
incredible.
And then when you get the DJI Air unit, you're recording locally, and the footage is better because it's local and because it's 1080 instead of 720. So, no, it's been such a big difference for me because I really enjoyed FPV for a long time, but always had a hard time because I would lose signal because I would just get too fuzzy or I couldn't see what was going on. I would hit a tree branch. But now with the digital system, I feel so much more in control. I'm going through these tight gaps that I would have never tried on analog.
Yeah, and that's why I was so excited to be able to get this new little Cinewhoop at the price I did, because this is the quad that I was flying, and this thing has a GoPro mount on it. I can put a Hero 7 on here.
But you almost don't need it, especially if you have the full size air unit.
No, this has only got the Vista in it. So I built this up. It's got the Vista, the single antenna, and I built this up to carry a GoPro specifically. But I found that just the goggles footage is so smooth. For YouTube purposes, what do I need a GoPro for?
Well, I'll tell you the answer to that. The thing to get is the Insta360 Go. Have you guys tried?
I saw that.
For FPV, it's 1080. It's stabilized. It's super light. It's like 20 grams. The unit weighs like 20 grams, and the footage is amazing.
Cool. Anyway, that was shot with it. So
where is this? Is this near your house?
This is the park where I fly every day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a huge park, and they've got all kinds of different soccer fields and
it's like a great place to fly.
And playgrounds, and there's nobody ever there, so it's
even better.
Really a cool place to fly. But I love that. I'm really hooked on the DJI stuff. Really am. So let me make Art's waving. Art, you got to go to bed. Oh, Art.
Something happened to my Chrome browser. It just quit on me, and I didn't want you to think I just said, screw it, I'm out of here. So I'm not even that. I'll tell you, hey, thanks for having me on, Mitch. It's always a pleasure being part of this. I'm learning something new about building FPV drones, which is cool. So if I ever get to that stage, I definitely
I don't mean to laugh at you. You told me 5-10 minutes ago Carlos had a question, and he just wrote in the chat, "I give up." Sorry, Carlos. You're not leaving, are you? Are you leaving?
Yeah,
now?
I gotta take off.
Okay.
Chris, good to see you. Adrian, good to see you. And
Art?
Adrian's up there. That's Bill over there. And Kelly. Yeah, there you go.
Good to see you, Art.
See you. All right.
Okay, Art.
Catch you guys
care,
next
buddy.
time, and have a great evening. Good night.
You too, Art.
Okay, here
Take
we
care.
go. Ready?
Ready?
Gone. Okay, Carlos. What?
Hey,
Oh, okay,
hey,
Adrian.
Mitch, I'm about to
Thanks
leave.
for coming
too,
in,
man.
buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, Adrian.
See you
Take
later,
care.
Chris.
Take care.
Kelly, I'll
Adrian.
see you later, boss
See
man.
you, Adrian. Take care, little boy.
Bill,
Take care.
everybody in the chat, have a good night.
Carlos, what do you want? What is Carlos? What was Carlos's question? Anybody know?
Yeah, it was about. Hang on a second. Let me scroll back here a minute. Had something to do with the.
Something to do with freestyle, he said.
think
But
so.
It's probably the cable. Try to.
why isn't Carlos in here? Is what I want to know.
He gave up.
No, I mean in here in the chat in the
in the show.
Yeah.
Bill, what's going on in Michigan, man? It was like 98 degrees in Texas today.
Yeah, it's been in the 70s the last few days, so that's good.
Yeah, rub it in.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not that serious, he says.
Is that hot for October?
Yeah, it's going to get cooler now.
Yeah.
But,
I think Chris, I saw this week, this Friday is going to be like in the high 60s or low 70s. So
After today is supposed to cool off.
yeah, today was brutal.
Tim Jackson, how you doing, buddy? How come you're not a moderator? Let's make you blue. All right, let's see if it takes, because there's been some problems with that.
Carlos, retype your question, buddy, because I can't find it, man.
I can't either. And I'll tell you what, Carlos, after I'm all done with this stream and everything, I'll give you a call, and because we don't want to ignore you. You're a fixture in this program.
Yeah,
And
and
I'm
Mitch, I
surprised-
appreciate you letting me jump in and solving this issue for me, because I was like, man, I've been wanting to fly this thing so bad. I was about to go fly it with the switches set up differently, but I know that was going to be disaster. I was going to like get into trouble, hit a switch, and it was me the wrong switch, and ugh.
I'd like to take complete credit, but I think there was the collaborative efforts of everybody in the chat throwing all these different suggestions at you that
Yeah, no, it was just the cable.
So good. No, that's what we want. That's what we want to do. You know, that's why I have this thing. You know, I joke that I'm not much ahead of all the rest of you guys in this FPV stuff. I'm learning something every day, and sometimes just by getting our heads together, everybody in the chat and me, and we can figure most things out, and it helps.
He said he needs help with a freestyle.
Like a freestyle.
That's good. Well,
drone?
he's got. Yeah, we just rebuilt a number of his freestyle quads, and I don't know. He might be talking about one of those, but I'll call Carlos after this is over, and find out what. Unless you want to come in the chat now, we do have some room. Oh, or I could get back to work. We got 20 minutes left. I could get back to work on my thing here, maybe get the receiver connected. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we're supposed to fly that tonight, right?
I know I was supposed to, but I
love how Mitch's chair, as he moves, his chair makes stuff erase in the background. Like it as you move your chair.
That's my green. That's my green screen background.
Yeah, I've seen it without the green screen turned up.
You see, wherever I move the chair, the green screen. It's
Spanx never disappears.
No, Spanx, because he's on top of everything.
Because he's real, right?
Of course. Well, if he was real, he'd disappear behind the chair. But I think he still will. I don't know. Would he disappear behind the chair?
No.
I don't know. It's hard to say. But it's a pretty cool deal. You can see if I turn the chroma key off, you see what I got behind me.
Yep.
I got the green chair and the green screen.
I'm just
So when
amazed
I turn-
that chair picks up as well as it does, because the
does,
green
yeah.
on the chair is different from the green on the wall.
Yeah, and if I wear a green shirt, I have holes. I have to be very careful. So let's go. Hold on a second. Who's here? Oh, there he is.
Good
In the
evening,
dark.
Mitch.
In the dark.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me.
What's up, Carlos?
I guess it's not working.
Howdy.
Hey, buddy.
Hola, Mr. Kelly. Anyway, continue your build. I'll watch.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to share a quick story while you build, or you want to
Okay.
talk and build.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna hook this receiver up, and then figure out where I want to actually cram it in there.
So you know
So go ahead.
that Paulie and I have our Sunday dates where we go out flying together.
Yes.
And last weekend, I shared with you where I shared my freestyle with Paul, and he, I warned him, don't go up too high. It's 2S. It's going to go faster with the Tiny Hawk Freestyle 2. And sure as poop, 2 seconds later, he's in a tree. So we get it out of the tree, and he was nice enough to purchase me another one because this is what I was going to ask you about. The OSD just went poopy on me. So story gets even better. So he buys me a new one. We get it set up today. I get it props on. I did everything but 180 disarm. And guess what Knucklehead me does? Puts it in a tree.
Upside down. And you couldn't disarm it.
Left in a tree and left. Yes. Oh my
so
God.
you put another one in a tree.
I mean,
so
but
it has
was
nothing.
10 minutes old. It was so depressing.
Oh, geez.
How high? How high were you?
Ooh, 40 some odd feet at least.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. How high do you think it was, Drone Bum? He's in the chat. But it just was such a heartbreaking moment for me.
Oh, wow.
It was really sad. So anyway, I have this one that the one that he crashed, that the OSD is bonkers, and I'm not sure what the problem is.
When you say the OSD is bonkers, what's it doing?
That's what I wanted to show you with my Skydrive. But
okay, let me know when you're ready, and I'll look away from what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Well, maybe when the leaves start falling this fall, the drone will fall too.
Yeah,
there you go.
I hope. I mean, I stood there for about an hour and change waiting for it to get windy. And of all days, when you want to fly, it always gets windy. But
right,
it wasn't windy.
You didn't throw any rocks at it?
I threw sticks at it, but then that's the other thing. Oops, I almost did a mistake. I discovered I'm getting old because when I throw stuff, my arm hurts.
Bardwell, Joshua's got a video.
Yeah, best ways to get stuff out of a tree.
15 different ways to get a drone out of a tree.
Yeah. And then Drone Bum brings these PVC pipes that are about as limp as a 90-year-old because I don't know what is going
Well, maybe you need one of those saws, extendable saws that goes up and you could just chop the branch down.
Yeah, but I don't know if the park would have appreciated that.
Yeah,
I hear you. I tell you what, Drone Bum even took his drone and put it up. His, what do you call it? What did he have? The Mavic Air 2, I think.
Oh, he
went up
to
to
get it, huh?
Yeah. It was bad. It was sad. All right, I have if you want to try.
All right, let me just finish trimming these little wires here, and I'm ready to solder them on the board. So, okay.
Wait, not yet.
Hold on a second. Let me get back out of this. What am I looking at there?
Damn it, nothing. Hold on, it's not taking. All right. Oh, there you go. Can you see that?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So watch this. Let me get rid of this X. Okay. So watch what happens.
What am I looking at?
This is the VTX. Watch when I go into the VTX. Did you ever see that before?
Which quad is that?
Freestyle. The Tiny Hawk Freestyle 2.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Smart audio.
I saw that, Carlos, with your two Jopaleras with those old TBS Now,
But
do
this
you
was
have a
actually
VT?
a crash, just so you know.
But it was working before the crash.
Correct. And here's the weird thing. I go into smart audio and change the channel, but it doesn't take.
Yeah, because your smart audio is not working. Either broke a wire or broke something on the flight controller, or your VTX table might have gotten screwed up in Betaflight. Is that Betaflight 4?
I went into Betaflight and did all the stuff that you were suggesting.
Yeah.
In the past. Go to the
Well,
channel.
we had that.
7. Yeah.
We had that same problem with the HGLRC with those old, but they were never working.
Does that say back?
Wow.
How are you outputting this? Is this just HDMI off of your goggles?
My SkyDroid.
SkyDroid.
What is that?
You don't know what that is? Here, I'll show you.
Oh, Mavic Air Pro is what he had to reconnaissance, but it didn't work.
Yeah, I figured it might be HDMI out of the goggles.
No.
This is a SkyDroid right here.
Into my
Oh! It's just a 5.8 receiver,
analog receiver that you can plug into your cell phone or
USB.
computer.
Oh.
Yeah, and it shows up as a camera, as a device, and you can bring it. You could actually. This is what the guys are using when they're doing their live FPV live.
Yeah.
flight.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they're like
I've never seen that.
They're like $25.
So why is the image so shaky and unstable? I mean, you must be right next to the.
That's just his the way.
Maybe with all the
Yes.
what do you call it?
Interference.
Too close. Yeah, it's too close.
I'm close
The
to
computer.
the computer. Close to
Computer
the
might be
wire.
screwing with it and
Use
everything.
my one technical word for the night, RF.
Or
So what do you suggest, Mitch? Just dump it.
What the RF?
God, I don't know
How's it going, Mel?
why that's missing from there, Carlos.
Melon?
That's a fair
It's
answer.
it's a Tiny Hawk 2, right? It's
Correct.
A freestyle or regular Tiny Hawk 2?
Freestyle.
Freestyle. It's got a separate VTX board in it, doesn't it?
I wouldn't be able to take. Actually, yeah, I think so. Let me put a light on it. No, this is an SPI receiver. Aren't they all? Isn't that a all-in-one?
Well,
Basically.
no, I think the Tiny Hawk has a separate little VTX board that mounts right above the. I'm looking at my Tiny Hawk, and it's got the tiny little VTX board that mounts right above it. It plugs into the bottom board, but it sits above it. It's like a daughter board. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's possible that one of the pins broke in it. It's all kinds of things. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get that old Unify to work. Maybe somebody in the chat has a clue.
Joe Blaylock says that's what television used to look like.
Yeah.
I remember in Houston there were UHF channels, and that's what the UHF looked like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what it looks like when you unplug. When there's no signal, you get a screen full of snow.
Sorry, I'll change that. Where is this?
That's okay. I'm gonna. You guys keep talking. I'm bound and determined to get this thing soldered up here tonight.
So wait, Mitch, that drone droid or SkyDroid thing.
SkyDroid, yeah.
So that'll show up as a source. Like if I was running Wirecast or OBS or something, it would show up as a source in that.
Plug it into your computer. It shows up as a camera source,
wow.
And you can bring it in. And
so if I wanted to fly a Tiny Hawk during a live stream, that would be the way to do it.
You could do it, yeah. Just make sure that you have that thing plugged in before you open OBS, because OBS won't recognize the device you plug in after it's opened.
Okay, so have it plugged in and then open. Yeah, well, it'd be Wirecast in my case, but yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think you could probably do it in Wirecast. I do it in OBS, and Ed at Love My Drones he does live streams once or twice a week where he live flies where guys all over the place come in. And if you're using StreamYards, for example, you just go into StreamYards and change the camera source to the SkyDroid, and away you go. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen one. I always thought they were. I've never seen one that was USB like that. Like
Eachine has the same. The Eachine has a version of it. It's exactly the same thing, but the SkyDroid, you want to get the one that has the two antennas. It's got a diversity receiver on it.
I want to do a quick plug, if that's all right. Next Friday on Speed Dial, I'm actually going to have the head of marketing for Emacs. So Emacs, who makes the Tiny Hawks. Yeah. He's going to be on with me. So if you guys are interested in Tiny Hawks, he knows all about them. He's a pilot himself and should be a really cool guy to interview.
Oh, that's cool. Everybody likes Tiny Hawks.
Yep. So it'll be Friday at 7 next Friday, this coming Friday.
Kelly, if you take a laptop and a cell phone and you mobile hotspot, you can actually do a live fly like that. It may not be quality, but it will work. Just so you know.
No, that's awesome. I want to give that a shot because I think it'd be fun to be able to. And then I suppose if you have different camera sources, I saw Mel in there saying you have to bring it as a camera source. I could still have a camera too. And so I could have a camera on myself.
Well, here's a suggestion. You get the camera source right, and you add that to your stream as well as the SkyDroid. Because what Ed does, Love My Drones, is he invites himself twice. One is a camera of facing him, and the other one is of the SkyDroid.
Is it like a picture-in-picture kind of thing?
Sort of, yeah, like what we're doing here.
Yeah, cool. So he has the SkyDroid as almost like a guest.
Correct.
Oh, that's cool. Correct. Yeah, I will do that. And guys, I have to drop out before 9. I told my wife I'd do the dishes tonight, and I have not done them yet. So did I tell you she made me bison burgers tonight?
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, really good. Have you ever had bison? Good stuff.
I don't think so. Tell you the truth.
Finishing my ostrich drumstick. No, I'm like.
No, bison is. I mean, it tastes like beef, but it's a little bit leaner and a little gamier if you like that sort of thing. So we had bison burgers.
It's great with a spotted owl appetizer.
Right. Some of those little eggs from tiny birds.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, Mitch, thank you so much. I'm going to get this thing going tomorrow, and I will let you know how it goes. And I appreciate you helping me out with that.
Oh, anytime. Good to have you. Always good having you, man.
All right, guys. You guys take it easy. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay. Kelly. All right. We'll see you. And that leaves.
Oh, Kelly. Oh, never mind. Oh, well.
He's gone.
Check out Ed's channel if you're still around. Love My Drones. Minnesota Paul.
Hey, Bill, you've hung in here through this whole thing, and I still haven't finished this yet. So
yeah, I'm ready to fly that thing. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'm just going to make sure I get these things soldered to the right places because this board is labeled with text that's so tiny it's hard to see. So what I got here is I got RX2. I need the 5 volts from here. The red wire goes to plus 5 volts on the board, which is that one. Okay.
Is this your first drone that has Crossfire?
No, my second.
2, yeah.
My second.
So your controller is already set up for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the module and the
is that Radio Master?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you in a second here. This is it's got the the TX2 module in it. See it? And all you do is you plug the module in, you go into the model, tell it the transmitter is Crossfire, and make sure you got the Lewis script on your SD card, and then you can control it all from the radio. Have you done that yet?
No, I haven't done it, but I have the stuff.
Oh, you got the same. Yeah, that's the same deal I got, the starter package.
Yeah, it came with a whole bunch of receivers and.
Oh, God, yeah, all kinds of antennas and everything else.
Mel is off.
What's that?
Mel is saying good night to everyone. Just let you know.
Good night, Mel. Take care.
Yeah, Mel.
All right, so that's plus 5 volts. And where's the ground go? The ground goes next to the plus 5 volts. Okay. The ground. Is that really the ground? I guess, yeah.
Ground or not to ground. So then I'll just
This is an all-in-one board. This board's got the ESCs and everything on it. So now is where I got to make sure that I'm correct. I hooked the white wire on the outside, which goes to TX2. So the white wire coming from the receiver goes to TX2 on the board. TX2 on the board is the one in the back. So I just said the white wire goes to TX2, correct?
TX2 in the back.
Is that what I said?
Yep, TX2.
And let me look and see if I can see that on the board. TX2. So the white wire.
Can you hear me?
Repeating it. What's that?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, all right. Wasn't sure.
Yeah, so the white wire here goes to TX2, and the yellow wire goes to RX2. And if that's right.
You don't have that camera on, Mitch, or is that on purpose?
No, I just thank you for that's your guys' job. You're supposed to remind me. Okay, so I got the receiver, if you can see it. I don't know if it's showing up all that good, but if you can see what I got here, I found the
microscopic.
See them?
Really small.
There's the receiver wires right there, all hooked up.
Oh,
so
okay.
I got
One,
red, black,
two.
yellow, and white. And now I want to see if I can't get this back out where it belongs. And I got the receiver setting crossways in there because it is a crossfire after all. That's Ken Heron style.
Rick Halber is leaving us too.
Now, what's this black wire? Oh, that's the black and yellow wire that were extra. Rick, take care, buddy. Good night. We're all gonna leave, and I think that we may not actually get to see this thing work tonight.
Yeah, maybe Thursday night.
Well, it'll be done by then. I'll finish it. It's done. It's all wired up now. So I'll tell you what I could do just for grins, even though I haven't put it all back together yet.
So the wires you disconnected, you just tie them up out of the way and save them for later.
Well, I'm probably gonna cut them, but I'm not gonna cut them till after I make sure everything works, and they weren't the wrong wires. You know what I mean? I'm just going to leave them out. And right now what I want to do is I want to plug this thing in, the flight controller. I'm going to take it over to my computer here. And I'm going to plug it into the Betaflight just for fun and see if the thing still lights up. And it does. And I want to see if where's my receiver? I don't think that I'm getting receiver power through that, but I'm going to take it, set it down. You can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm going to take it and set it down. I'm going to get my smoke stopper out, and I'm going to get a battery, and I'm going to see if the receiver powers up.
Joe Baylock, look at the title of the video. It's what is this called again? Didn't you put it on the title?
No, I put it in the description.
Oh, in the description. I'm sorry. In the description. It is the HGLRC Sector 13.
That green blinking light that you see right there is the receiver blinking. Okay. So the receiver's blinking. I want to turn on my radio.
Welcome to it.
And I'm going to show you this over here on the table. Let's go to here. Let me make it bigger and zoom out so you can see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to bind this radio. I'm going to bind this radio up. So what I need to do is, I know this is what you've been waiting for, Bill. Okay.
So do you have to create another model for that new one?
Well, I use the same model settings for all of them. So I have one model set up called Crossfire with Betaflight. In other words, I might have a iNav thing which will have all different switches, but all my Betaflight quads use the same switch settings. So I make sure that I have the receiver number set to 00. Set to 0. That means it'll bind to anything. So I'm going to go into the settings.
So that's all you have to do is 00 to model match?
Yeah. No, that'll be no model match if you don't want to use model match. Okay, so I'm going to go into System. I'm going to page over to the SD card content. I'm going to go down to where it says Scripts. I'm going to go down to where it says Tools. I'm going to go to where it says Crossfire, and I'm going to run the Crossfire Lewis script. Okay, execute, and it's telling me it has a micro transmitter module. That's what I want to control. Okay, and I want to bind, and now it says update micro receiver, and I will say yes. And now it's flashing the firmware on the receiver. It's just that simple when you put a new receiver on. Now, if you want to have a separate model for each, in the radio for each quad that you have, that's fine. You can do that. But I don't want to keep setting or copying models. I want one model basically for every quad is going to have the same switches and the same controls.
So do you have to do this for each drone that you fly that has the Crossfire, or once you do it one time, it's already bound, you just turn it on? And
yeah, next time I just turn it on. So all I do is I go into my radio and I set it to I named the model Crossfire Betaflight or Quad Crossfire, something like that. So I know that anytime I fly a quad with a Crossfire receiver, it's going to use that model in the radio. And I only have one model, because everything else in Betaflight, other than the limits, the throttle limits, which is set once, is set in Betaflight itself. Okay, RX is loading. It says don't interrupt. Okay, it won't interrupt.
So
binding, see, it says binding now. There it is. It's done. All right. So now my radio should be bound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the quad from the power. Yeah, and I got a solid green light on it. Well, I'll just leave it on. I'm going to go into Betaflight, which I'm going to do right over here. Let me get Betaflight going. And we're going to check to see the receiver working. So we're going to go into Betaflight. It's COM6, connect. Quad is working. Go to receiver. And let's see. Throttle. Nothing. Oh, I'm still in running the Lewis script. Let me get out of the Lewis script. And let me reboot the quad here.
Mitch, at this rate, you're going to have to go short on your next show. I'm not rushing you.
No, we're all right. Now, for some reason, I'm not seeing.
You need a battery?
I got a battery in it. I'm just not seeing. I'm not seeing any movement in anything on the radio. So I have some issue here with this. It is bound because I'm getting telemetry from the receiver. It's possible that I have somehow crossed the RX and TX. So that's just.
Do they give you a diagram, Mitch?
Are you guys hearing Mitch?
No.
No.
I just
I'm
asked
not.
something. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
I hear you guys.
There, my microphone went out or something. Hold on.
Now you're
There you
I
go.
have
We can hear you
I
now.
have a wireless mic on, but why did it? Oh, I muted it somehow. Hold on. There we are. Now can you? Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
We can hear
Okay, there we go. I must have banged the mute button on my wireless mic. Yeah, what I forgot to do, silly me, I'm in such a hurry, is I forgot to go into ports. I forgot to tell it that UART2, well, okay, UART2 is the receiver. UART1 is MSP. Let's go into configuration here and go down to receiver. And I have to tell it that the receiver is a serial-based receiver, but it is a Crossfire receiver and not a FR Sky receiver. Then I save and reboot.
That's why.
Okay. And then I reconnect. And then I plug the battery back in. And it tells me the telemetry was recovered. Then I go to receiver.
There you
And
go.
now it's working.
Yep.
Except the quad has got a million different settings that are wrong. And the first one of mine is I don't use AETR. I use TAER as my preferred sequence. There we go. So here we have roll and pitch and yaw and throttle, arm, modes. So then I'm going to go into the modes tab here. And I'm going to
They're overlapping.
say that, yeah, well, this is my arm. So I want that up here. I want this angle mode. I want on aux 2. So that'll be aux 2. Down here, I want angle mode here. I always set it up this way. You don't have to, but I'm going to set up horizon mode on aux 2 in the center. And I don't want head free, beeper. I want on aux 3 up here. That's aux 3 and perfect. And then I want air mode to be on aux 2. I want air mode on when it's in acro, which will be here. I want save that. Flip over after crash. I want.
You actually use that to get out of a tree, right?
Sometimes I might want it.
Turtle mode, yeah.
But which switch is it on? Why is it not picking up the switch here? I may not have that set up. What is all that noise I'm hearing?
Oh, that's me. That's traffic.
Oh, no, I'm hearing all. Is that traffic? Holy cow!
The cows make that much noise.
I'll worry about that the next time. Let me
ready to be milk.
Crash.
Ooh.
All right, so that'll give me the basic controls I need. I want to go into configuration. I want to make sure they have the small angle set to 180, which they do. Accelerometer. Want to give this a name. Well, it's already got a name. Sector 132 HD. That'll work. D-Shot 600, 8K is the way it comes. Most of the settings should be right. Other than setting the mode switches up, putting the receiver in. The next thing I have to do is just to activate the DJI unit, but I won't bother with that tonight. You guys have all seen that, but that should be ready to bolt up and throw the props on and activate the air unit, and away we go. I can set up the OSD. They do have an OSD set up even for this. It's an analog OSD setup. So I will actually copy the same OSD setup from the CLI in my Reptile in this quad. I will put this on Betaflight, get all the OSD settings, save, copy them and paste them into the CLI command line on this, and fine tune it and do all that. But basically, I think it's pretty well set up and pretty well ready to go. I want to run the motors while I got it in here, make sure they're running in the right direction. So let's go to the motors tab, tell it that I agree, spin up the motors, and they're spinning. That's correct. That's correct.
Right rear.
That's correct. It's spinning. Yeah, they're set up props in, which is good, but they're all spinning in the right direction. Good. All right. So the props are spinning correctly. I don't need to worry about the video transmitter because it's got the DJI. There is no GPS or anything like that.
Did you do the
There's
one
only
arm?
Yeah, I did that. That's set up that's in the configuration tab, right down here.
It's already done.
180.
I'll never
180 disarm.
ever again.
Yeah, because you can't get yourself out of a tree if you're
I was
stuck.
just in a rush, and I don't know. Well, whatever.
All right, and then what I'm going to do just for fun, I'm going to go into the CLI and I'm going to type. I'm going to do a diff all, and this is going to give me all the settings, and then I'm going to save it to a file, and I'm going to save it to.
Sector.
Let's see. I already have a. Where's my desktop here? I already have a folder, drone stuff.
Drone stuff.
Yeah, it's called drone stuff, and there's quads, and here's the sector 32, and I want to save it into that folder. Okay. So disconnect. We're done. Unplug the quad. And it's, other than setting up the DJI Air unit,
Receiver still connected.
it's ready to go.
Try to turn off the radio.
And my place is a mess. God, that air unit gets so hot, man. That air unit gets so hot. All right. Ouch. There it is.
Complete.
Well, it's kind of still kind of floppy, but it is all wired up.
It's like the CinePro or the CineQueen that's out there. GepRC one.
Yeah, they're all very similar. This is just considerably smaller in size and weight than this.
Yeah.
But it's still a 3-inch, basically the same size.
No,
This has got
this 3-inch.
Yeah. This uses 3-inch props if it has no guards. 2.5-inch. I'm going to fly it with the guards. I like the idea.
Yeah.
For safety and being able to buzz it. This is going to be on 3S. It'll probably be okay for indoors, but primarily I'm going to fly it with some 654S batteries. We'll see how much time it gets. Yeah, but I will get this all finished up. Right now, the rest of it is just putting screws in, a couple of tie wraps to hold the receiver in place. And the activating the air unit. But what I wanted to do is installing the Crossfire receiver, and it is all done. And that antenna mount worked out pretty neat. See that? See the T antenna back here? Yeah, that worked out pretty neat. So that's going to be a nice little quad, I think.
We hope so.
And you guys will see some footage from it. So.
Hey, Mitch, real quick refresher. The Japalaras, you said to bring them to 4K instead of 8K? Is that what I understood?
Yeah, I said the lower number.
All right.
What was it? Was it
what section of Betaflight?
It's in configuration.
Okay. Configuration.
Yeah, and there'll be a top number and a bottom number. One is the gyro frequency and the other is the PID loop frequency.
And just lower those?
Yeah, lower them to 4K. I think on the newest version of Betaflight, you're stuck at 8K for the gyro frequency. I don't think it allows you to change that anymore. But if it says 8K, 4K, change it to 8K, 2K. If it says 8K, 8K, just knock it down to 4K.
Got it.
That's a long shot, but it might solve that problem.
We'll see. Couldn't hurt.
Have you flown the Chameleon yet?
Not as of yet. Wednesday, I'm planning.
Oh, okay, good. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out.
You think I'll get the same range as the other guys? Similar?
I would think so. Yeah. Why not? Why not? No, you probably should get better range. That's got the RSXR receiver in it. You should get better range with that.
All right, quick question. Why wouldn't you suggest the RXSR for Chris? Just curious.
It's a complicated receiver with telemetry, and you don't need that. You don't need that at all.
It's actually easier.
Yeah, it's much easier. The XM Plus is
Okay.
a good solid receiver. It works great. You mount the antennas to the legs on a tie wrap. We'll show you how to do that. And I don't have one here that has an XM Plus in it, but we'll get you working.
No, that's
all right, guys. It's getting late, and
yeah, you're overtime.
Well, I don't care if I'm overtime. I'm okay, but I'm tired. So
that too.
And I got a big mess here to clean up. So
all right.
Let me look back over the chat. We had a nice crowd here for most of the night. This is great. Thanks, guys. Yeah, Joe Blaylock, thank you for coming in. The View Chaser, good to see you. Ludsat 1, I never did say. I hope somebody in the chat said hello to you guys. Okay. Chris, you're still here. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Good to see you. Minnesota Paul.
Sir. Hey, tell me
what's that?
Before you leave, tell me the transmitter or receiver I need to buy
FR Sky,
one more time.
XM Plus.
I can send that to you in Messenger.
I'm typing it in the Race Day Quad right now.
XM
Sky. XM Plus.
I just got an email from RDQ.
Yeah, I did too. Now they're up to 15% off the clearance prices on whatever they got left.
Yeah.
So there might be. I haven't looked at that. There might be something in there. It's interesting.
Maybe props. Oh no, you have enough, right?
I got plenty of props.
I was looking at props myself.
John Coopy, buddy, thanks for coming in, my friend. Good to see you tonight. Jim, Above and Beyond.
Bob Casey.
Good to see you. Bob Casey.
Love my
Rick Halber, if you're still here. Thanks for coming in. Hope it was entertaining. We had a good time. Paulie, Drone Bum, good to see you.
Minnesota Paul.
Bill, he's gone. Minnesota Paul said good night to him.
Okay.
Kelly, I doubt he's still listening, but it was good to have Kelly here. It's always interesting. And I guess that's about it. Until I get way back.
New person put in Lars Smith. He said, I put a Vista in my Tyro 119.
128, no problem. Yeah, you gotta you put it on top of the top plate, I would imagine. You could put anything up there. Yeah.
Cool.
Good deal. Lars, welcome. Must be your first time in. Yeah, those Vistas are small enough to put most anywhere, and a lot of guys when DJI first came out, they were strapping those things everywhere on the quads because you couldn't fit them into most frames. But now most of the frames, like this, the thing that I have here, was designed for the air unit to be right in there. It came with spaced enough for it, with a holder for it and everything.
What frame is that?
This is the frame, the GEP-RC.
Okay.
Mark 4 or 5 HD. It's really a beautifully made frame and great flying quad.
Cool. All right, Mitch.
Sorry, I was okay.
I'll be.
Hey, no problem, Carlos.
Plenty of help. So.
Bill's good to see you,
yeah,
buddy.
Chris, all right, Chris. Carlos. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in.
Catch you in a minute. We'll talk. Bye-bye.
Take care, Carlos. Bill, thanks
Mitch,
for coming in,
appreciate
buddy.
it. Yeah,
hey, listen,
thanks for the invite.
Good to see you. And when you actually get started doing this stuff, just email me if you need anything. Throw your phone number in and email me, and I'll call you right away. I'll call you, and we'll, because now I'm an expert. See, now that I just did it for the second time, which, believe me, was like doing it for the first time, because try to remember what you did exactly. But I think now, after doing this 2 times and seeing how quickly and easily it was to bind it and upgrade the firmware, did you notice how fast that happened?
Yeah, it went pretty quick.
Yeah, all you do is just get the receiver powered up. You could do that without even hooking it to the flight controller. As long as it's got power to it, it doesn't need the flight controller. It'll communicate with the transmitter. So you go into the Lewis script on your radio, and if you've never run Lewis scripts, you'll learn about that. And Lewis script can be it's like an app on a cell phone. It's an app, and they sit on the SD card, and you go to the SD card and you find the Crossfire folder, and in there's a thing that says crossfire.lua. That's when you hear people say Lua script. It's a file that says .lua or LUAC, same thing. And you execute that file, and it runs a program. Runs a program on your jumper or on your radio or radio master that actually communicates with the Crossfire transmitter module that's in the back of your radio, and handles the binding and updating of the firmware on the receiver. You can also do the same thing with Crossfire by just plugging the USB from the Crossfire module into your computer and running the Agent X software from TBS. That'll also communicate, bind your receiver, and update your receiver too. So you can even do it without your transmitter if you're near a computer. So either way, I know that there's a lot of good videos out there about how to work Crossfire. And once you kind of get a handle on it, it's probably the easiest thing in the world to use. Minnesota Paul, check out the RC Sailors. They have a cheap. I watched that video today, Paul. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. The guy bought this, what he thought was a gag or a fraud, cheap RC Delta flying wing, and he actually found one, and he ordered one, and he took it out to the airport, and he was taking off and landing on a concrete runway as if it had wheels, but it had no wheels. It was just skidding all over the place, and the damn thing didn't fly too bad. It was funny. But no, I don't think I want to get one. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say goodnight to you.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks for coming in. Good to see you. Don't be a stranger, okay? All right, buddy. You going to back out, or should I kick you out?
Kick me out.
See you later. Did you want to talk to me? Did you want to talk to me after the show? You can. I mean, I can. Once I
want to get a little
air.
closer. For sure.
Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. I'll see you next time. All right, everybody. That just leaves me and the monkey, and the music. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Went a little overtime tonight, but we did get a few things accomplished, and I had a good time. So, as usual, take the rest of the day off, what's left of it. Go play with your drones, and I will turn you over to Spank, my buddy, and let him say goodnight. Say goodnight to the people, Spanky.